Episode 20, Mathematics. From the first day I went to school, mathematics had been my weak point. I just could not make headway with the simple sums of addition and subtraction. My sister, Rakim, was the opposite to me. Last year, her first year at school, she had come first in class. Not only this, she had passed with all A's. It was only after my mother had taken matters in hand and started to coach me that I had seen light at the end of the tunnel. She hit on the brilliant idea to teach me to get to grips with my sums with the aid of matchsticks. Let me illustrate with an example. Take the sum of 3 plus 3 equals to 6. 3 plus 3 equals 6. I just could not calculate this sum out of my head to arrive at the correct answer. My mother would make me sit down at the kitchen table and place some matches in front of me. By counting out loud, I would remove 3 matches one by one from the pile and place it together in front of me on a different spot. After a pause, I would add another 3 matches to my new pile by using the same method. I would now count the new heap of matches one by one. When I had finished counting them all, I would have the correct answer of 6. This would all be done under the supervision of my mother. For subtraction, the method employed would be the same. Example: 5 minus 3 equals 2 from the matches which my mother had placed in front of me. I would extract 5 matches. I would do so by counting out loud every time that I remove a match. I would put all the matches I had removed from the main lot and put them together at another spot in front of me. Now I would proceed to remove 3 matches from this new bunch of 5. I would count the remaining matches and arrive at the answer of 2. Daily my mother would make me practice with the matches. She would give me imaginary sums of addition and subtraction to do. As time progressed, I became quite adept at doing my sums this way. After this, my mother let me get to the next stage. Now I had to learn how to add and subtract by using my fingers. This was a bit more difficult. After a while, I also mastered this method. At the end of the year, I received my sub-A class report. I had come 21st in class. This was out of a total plus, minus 40 children. The most important of all, I had managed to pass from sub-A to sub-B. I owe my mother much thanks. If it was not for her untiring effort to coach and assist me, I would never have made it. Allah be praised. Although not a whiz kid at mathematics, I managed to pass every year until I reached to Standard 5. In Standard 3 I had managed to come 7th in class. This was out of a total of 40 plus children. It was quite an achievement for me. In Standard 5 the specter of mathematics raised its head again. When I received my year-end report, it stated Shukri had failed mathematics, therefore he had failed Standard 5. Great was my disappointment. I felt quite emotional about it. I've cried and lamented the fact that one whole year had been wasted. I was my father's only son, so I feared and dreaded what he was going to do to me. I looked for causes and reasons. I blamed it on all my comic books, my Beanos and my Dandies. These are the names of 2 favorite comic books of mine. I had a whole stack of them. I used to buy them whenever I had money. I tore up all my comic books. I swore that I would never look at another comic book again, let alone reading them. Praise be to Allah, I had stuck to my guns. All through my life I never ever turned to reading comic books again. All thanks must go to Allah. The dreaded hiding I feared from my father never ever materialized. As a punishment for failing, I did not get any new clothes the following year. This also applied to school clothes. My parents wanted to shame me and they succeeded. I had overgrown the sleeves of my school jacket. My parents refused to buy me a new jacket. They had no money to spend on failures. My mother had lengthened the sleeves of my old jacket by taking out the lining. Clearly the old seam could still be seen. No amount of pressing could remove it. I felt ashamed to wear this jacket, especially in front of the girls. There was nothing I could do about it. I was a failure and had to tough it out. All things good or bad must come to an end. This year and I passed to Standard 6 and received new school clothes. I passed Standards 6, 7, and 8 without any difficulty. It was not a prerequisite to pass mathematics, to pass these standards. I did not fail this subject nor did I get a high mark for it. In Standard 9 the issue of mathematics cropped up again. I had been given a choice. I could take it as a subject or leave it. The alternative was to take up woodwork. The catch was that if I dropped mathematics I would not be able to go to university. My teachers advised me to drop mathematics. They had studied my past performances in this subject and know that I was not mathematically inclined. The problem was that my parents would have none of it. It was unthinkable to them. They had high hopes for me. I being their one and only son, they refused to entertain the idea that I would not be able to get higher education. In a meeting with the school principal and the relevant teacher concerned, the matter was resolved. Against the advice of the teachers, my parents got their way. I took mathematics as a subject in Standard 9. Now the road was open to the university. My mathematics teacher Mr. Emeron had forecasted that I would fail this subject in Standard 9, but I was determined to prove him wrong. I confounded both him and myself. I passed mathematics and passes to Standard 10. Although I had passed mathematics, it was not of such a standard to brag about. In Standard 10 my marks obtained in mathematics was not up to standard to qualify me for an entrance to university. My parents and my hopes were dashed for me to have a higher education. Round about the time just before my spiritual awakening, I was fortunate enough to read a treatise by Imam Al Ghazali. It is called the Li'a'ul Mu'min. In this treatise, this great scholar and luminary of Islam writes, those who have an aptitude for mathematics tend to lack in spiritual matters. Great was my joy after I had read this. In view of this, looking back at my school career, I am not ashamed to say that I am proud that I was not good at mathematics. I am proud to say that because of it I had flunked Standard 5. I am proud to say that I did not go on to higher education. This system of education which is so prevalent in the world today is nothing but a Dajjal system. Allah willing, more thoughts on this on another day. As far as the subject of mathematics is concerned, the fact that I am not good at it is just another feather in my cap as far as the Mahdi is concerned. In his I'a'ul Mu'min, the learned Imam goes on to say, those who favor the sciences of woodworking, painting, sculpturing, etc. are spiritually inclined. According to these writings of Imam Al Ghazali, it should follow that because I am not cut out for mathematics, that I should be more inclined to favor these sciences. Alas, it is not so. The little bit of sculpturing and painting that I had done at school ranges from the mediocre to no talent at all. Lucky for me, these subjects were not compulsory examination school subjects. I would have failed miserably in it. On the other hand, woodworking was a compulsory subject in Standard 6 to 8. How did I fare in it? Here follows an anecdote I would like to relate regarding it. I was in Standard 7. My woodwork teacher's name was Mr. Tembe. Besides written examinations on this subject, the students were also required to make a practical model like a stable, a single door cupboard, etc. At one stage I was far behind the rest of the class with my model. Most of the students, especially those who were not so bright in other subjects, were far superior to me in woodwork. their models were of a high standard. One day in woodworking class Mr. Tembe called me for a private talk. He liked my face, but was disappointed in my woodwork results. It came over that he thought I was stupid. Then Mr. Tembe asked me what position I had obtained in class. He was referring to my examination results for the first 6 months of the year. When I told him that I had come first in class, he was shocked. He did not believe me and expressed it in words. Then he turned to the rest of the class and asked if I was a clever student. In one voice they told him that I was the brightest student in the class and that I had come first. Mr. Tembe was speechless. Thereafter he always treated me with deference and respect. On that second night of my spiritual awakening, examining all this under the spiritual light of reason, many things came to the fore. The fact that I am not mathematically inclined weighs in my favor. This is a proof that I tend to lean more towards things of a spiritual nature. One would expect this of a Mahdi or a Mahdi in waiting. The fact that I am hopeless in the art of sculpturing and painting is also a strong point in my favor. There are religious prohibitions against making or designing in any form whatsoever images in any way depicting people and animals. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, is reported to have said that on the day of judgment these images will clamor and demand from the one who had made them to give them a soul. Of course, this will not be possible and the artist will be in dire straits. The fact that in conjunction with mathematics I was also not good at woodworking should give pause for thought. Clearly this does not coincide with the writings of Imam Ghazali in his Ihya-ul-Ulumuddin. The world of Islam sets great store by the thinking of this great alim. In view of this fact that I do not conform or fit into this equation does not imply that the Imam is wrong. It simply means that we must look at it from another angle. During these years in which I grew up, many were the occasions in which I critically examined myself. I used to lament the fact that I was not mathematically, technically, mechanically and artistically inclined. I did not excel in any sport and was especially not good at playing soccer. Sometimes I would cast around inside my mind to find out what I am really good at. I could not come up with anything. It was at these times that I really felt sorry for myself and was surely vexed in the spirit. I thought I was good for nothing, bad luck, and the rest that goes with it. Then I felt a great empathy for my father. I thought that I was his only son and there was nothing about me that he could be proud of. It was at these times that the thought would well up from inside of me that at least I am good at the reciting of the Holy Quran and that I have a good grasp of religious matter. These thoughts did much to console me and perk up my spirit. Allah be thanked and praised, because these thoughts could only have been instilled in me by the Almighty Himself, because it brought much consolation and peace of mind. Glory be to Allah. I had solved the mystery of why I was not inclined to any of the earthly sciences, including mathematics. By all accounts, Imam Ghazali's thoughts in his Ihya-ul-Ulumuddin on this matter stands vindicated. I turned to Charliza and shared all these thoughts and discoveries with her. With tears in her eyes she concurred. With Charliza's concurrence I now bring this chapter of mathematics to a close.